I'm so excited. Right, I'm just going to type. There. If you are watching, I have chat up so I am able to see you. I'm doing a little bit differently tonight. I've got something I can't wait to show you. I've been excited by some YouTube channels, inspired, and the thing I'm doing tonight I found really helpful when I was about teenagers. There's a story to it, but I don't think I've ever done a live on this particular project. I know I'm speaking in riddles, but it'll make sense in a second. Good evening, Pauline. Good evening, Abril. Good evening, ladies. How are we this evening? Good evening, Mrs. Ryan. How are we? Hi, Shirley, sweetheart. Hi, lovely ladies. How are we this evening? I am super excited. I'm doing something tonight, which some of you may have seen, some of you may have not seen. I'm speaking in a lot of riddles. In a second, it will make sense. Good evening, Debbie, sweetheart. How are we this evening? How are we all? Right, so I'll give it a couple of seconds and then I shall tell you what I am planning on doing tonight. So I'll give you a bit of thing where I've got around my room and see if you can guess what I am doing, right? We'll see if you can guess what I'm doing. So what's not obvious to show you? So I have a water bottle. I have various different stamps. I have brushes and I have, what else do I have? Oh, I have postcards. I have, the last thing we're about to show you, we'll give it away. Anybody guessing what I'm about to do? I'll give you one clue, one more clue, just because I'm nice. I have these. I am going to use some of these, but I'm not going to, I've got a different set, so I'll do it close up so you all can see. I am doing some of this. So Pauline says painting. Hi, Sue, sweetheart. Yes, Pauline, I am painting. So what I am doing tonight, for those that are thinking she's gonna watercolor, I am using my watercolors. I am doing some painting, some different flowers. Now, some of you are going to say, well, I can't draw, and I wouldn't know where to begin to draw a flower. I wouldn't know where to begin to even paint one. I'm going to show you different things I've done, but one of the postcards or one of the pictures I'm going to show you, see if you can guess which one I've actually used my stamps with, because you don't have to draw in order to use some watercolor paints and stuff. So I'm going to show you that in a second, but before I do, there was 3 ladies that have inspired me this week to get these out of the drawer. My room's been all sort of organized, kind of. I am getting there slowly, but 3 ladies I've watched and I've gone, let's get them out, dust the cupboards off, let's get them out, let's get ready. But before this week, I had a completely crafter's block. Doodles, yes, April, some doodling with some painting. So you saw, yeah, I'll give you that. You are right. When I was a teenager, I did a lot of drawing and painting, and I forgot to link the link, but on my blog are all my paintings I used to do as a teenager. And now I hated school with a passion. Didn't like going, it wasn't just didn't like going. I didn't like going and I got bullied. So school for me was really, really difficult. So when I was about 14, 15, I got into an art club. And it was just purely an art club that we had found. And we thought it was arts and crafts. And it turned out that it was painting and drawing. And this gentleman took me under his wing, and his name was Ted. And he showed me basically how to draw, how to shade, how to use watercolors, how to use pastels. Because back in the day, I used to go use pastels a hell of a lot. How to use chalks. I like them bright. It wouldn't be my go-to thing because they're quite messy and they get everywhere in your fingers. I did start learning a little bit about oil painting, but never really got into it because I could never understand that you can't mix it like watercolors. With watercolors, you mix it with water and then you can get different shades. With oils, they're slightly different. You can mix them, but to add water to them, you wouldn't have like a different shade of the same color. It's a bit, so I never went into oils. So when I was about 14, joined this art club and I drew and painted all different things. Buildings, I drew a pencil case once, and then when school came around, the end of school, art was my thing. So it was art GCSE, which was an exam back then, that I took in art. And one of the paintings that I purposely painted for that, I've actually got hanging in my home. So, and all this stuff has been in my drawer. It's been like sitting there, not doing nothing, because for the past couple of years, I've gone into like miniatures, laces, fabric. You often see me making something out of fabric, which I was going to do tonight. But I didn't buy the fabric. And what I was going to do something with the board that I bought this week, but I didn't buy the fabric. So hence why I didn't do that. Anyway, so all this has been in the cupboard. And 3 ladies I watched this week and I was like, I've got to get them out of the cupboard. Even if I just get them out and look at them, got to get them out. So these 3 ladies, hi Deborah, sweetheart. Good evening, Miss Dee Dee. These 3 ladies are all linked in the description. I've given you their links and the names, and I'm going to try and pronounce their names right. So Karen Rice, who has got many videos on using watercolors, but one of the ones that I got inspired was her poppy making, which you'll find a link for in there. Almut Olsson, now she was sort of directed to me by the lovely Mrs. G. Mrs. G came over through the week and we were sorting the drawers out and she said, have you watched Almut? And when I watched her, she did, she used colours, but then she doodled on top, and I found it exciting and wanted to get that stuff out. And the other one that I have just started watching yesterday, today, is Emma Lefebvre. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Again, all the names and the links in the description. So please go and check them out, even if this isn't for you. And even if you can, hand on heart, say, I can't draw, whatever, you will find it inspiring. So I'm going to show you some paintings that I've been doing. And I want you to tell me which one you think I've used the stamps on. So some of them, there's 1 out of 4 things I'm about to show you that I've actually used a stamp on, and see if you can tell me which one it is, because even if you can't draw, can't paint, or don't even know where to begin to, you can use your stamps. So see if you can tell which one it is. So we'll go alphabetically. So, hi Carol, sweetheart. I'm still keeping an eye on the chat. So we have A. That's A. Right. We have B. That is B. We have C. Oops. And then we have D. Which one do you think I've used an actual stamp on? I am going to spin the camera around as well for you to have a good look. So I'll give that to you again. So A, B, C, or D? Let me see. So Rian said B. Rian reckons it was this one, who's Mrs. G. Debbie, Didi, Jean. Hi, Jane, sweetheart. Sue, Pauline, all think it is C. Sarah thinks it's B. And Abril thinks it's D, which is this one. What the one I've used, I'll tell you which one I haven't and see if you can. So one of the answers that you've put is right, but it's surprising how you'll see now when I tell you what one it is, you'll see how what everybody's wrote to what the actual answer is. So A was this one, and A I did not use the stamp on. So A is a nice picture. It's done by a watercolor by layering the colors up and drying them in between, but I did not use the stamp on A. B was this one. So B again is done with layering the same color up 3 times, and then I did a bit of olive green for the bottom. And B, I did not use the stamp on. C, which is this one. A C again, I've used the same shade, and I've just done it twice, and I've, instead of shading the greenery in, I just used one color, so I can clearly say that C I didn't use the stamp on. D is the one I used the stamp on. So D is actually 2 stamps, and it is done with 2 colors, main colors for the flowers, and then 2 kind of colors for the leaves and the greenery. So Abril, you well spotted. That was D. That was well spotted. So it's funny how you all thought, mainly thought that it was B and C, and B and C were the one I did the stamp on. So even if you can't draw or paint or don't know even where to begin, you can actually use your stamp in order to make it look like it's come out of your own head, which it has, the color would have done. The patterns come out of your own head, and you haven't had help whatsoever. And I'm about to show you how to do it. So well done, Abril. That was actually spot on. So well done. So guys, I gotta go, you all get in. So I'm gonna spin the camera around, and what I am gonna do as well is we're gonna do 2 postcards, and I am gonna show you 2 different ways of using watercolors, even if you can't draw or never drawn or paint. You can still use your stamps. I'm going to show you how to do that, but I'm also going to be giving the 2 postcards that I showed you tonight, so these 2 and 2 I'll be making tonight. I'll be popping them into an envelope to one lucky person, so keep watching because there's a little bit of a giveaway in tonight's live. So let's spin you around. So we have, let me explain what we have on the table. So this is, some of you may recognize it. This is actually a plate for the Big Shot. I tend to buy my plates sparely, you know, as a spare. And I tend to use one, well, I've started to use one for painting, because it's really, really good, because I'm going to be using some other things as well. So I've got that. That's from the Big Shot. These are watercolor postcards, which I ordered online and there's a ton in here. So you've got the watercolor side on one side, and then you've got the writing space on the other. We'll need one of them. I'm actually going to be doing 2, 3 if we have enough time. What else do we need? I've got some. Hiya, Julia, sweetheart. Thank you, Dee Dee. I've actually got some frog tape. So you want some tape that isn't going to seep through. Double-sided tape, your water might seep through. So I'm going to grab it. You'll need 4 pieces because I'm going to tape it completely down. But before I do, this was a little tip I picked up this week. And it was either Almut or another lady. And I thought it was really cool because it stops the paper from warping, gives it a little bit of a chance. So you want to wipe the water around it because we're going to be taping the sides up. So there's that side. That side. And you can ask me questions as I go. Don't feel like you can't, because you can. Oops. That side, and then I'm going to be taping this side. And then I'm just looking around because I have got a tool floating around on my table somewhere. Let me try and find, oh, there it is. Now this is, so that's it for the taping basically. I've never seen watercolor postcards. How awesome. Yeah, the watercolor postcards actually come in this tin. And I believe I had them off Amazon. If I find the link, I'm sure I ordered them from Amazon. If I find the link, which I might do tonight after tonight's live, I will post it in the description box for you all to get some if you want some. So this little tool, so I've got a bit of kitchen roll underneath because I'm watercolor painting. There is a crafting mat underneath, but this is just for me to wipe my brushes down. I've literally got something on my table. So the first thing I'm going to do is realign this camera. That's better. Right. Now this is a little clay tool. It's got a bit of a point to it. Now, if you use the scissors, craft scissors, or whatever scissors you use, what you might do is split the tape. And that's not what you need to do. We need to keep the tape on the, you can do it on taping onto your mat, I suppose, wherever you're taping, but you need to keep the tape on the postcard and on the, well, for me, it's the plate. So this isn't sharp. This is like a clay tool, so it isn't sharp. Where did you get the watercolor postcards? It's Amazon, and they weren't that expensive. And I'm just going to press down on the side to make sure that my tape is all lined up. They weren't that expensive because I actually bought paper as well. I'm just going to press all this down. Okay. Notice how I'm going around the corner. I want to make sure that my corners and my tape is sticking. But because this isn't sharp, it's going to go through the tape. And the tape does come off comes off and doesn't take the paper with it. So that's the first thing. The second thing I've got now, or a couple of things. I've got my spray bottle of water, and I've also got a cup full of water. The cup is mainly to wash my brushes as I go. I'm going to read you up slightly. So I have 3 brushes here. They have got numbers on. three, I always forget what they mean when they got the little lines. So I'm gonna try my best. So these are the ladies that inspired me. So these are the brushes I am using. No, that's glue clat. Try again. Where's my pen gone? Oh, there it is. Right, these are the brushes I am using. Now I'm going to show you my brush set I bought, but again, I think my brush set was about £10–15, but these are the brushes I am using. So I'm using a 3/0, which is that one, which is more like a real thin brush. It's really good for picking your water up. The artist tape, I'll come back to. Wait a minute, I'll come back to. I'm using a 2, which is more like a slanted kind of brush. That's the only way to describe it. I would go in technical terms, but I don't want to confuse you all. So it's more slanted it's more at an angle. They call it an angle brush because it is at an angle, the brushes. So that's another brush I'm using. And then this one is 2/0. So those are the brushes I'm using, okay? And if you you can get them shorter, but I tend to like a longer brush because I've got more to play with, and plus because they are so thin, you can actually work the two at the same time. I know us girls are good at multitasking, but I kind of like these brushes because they are thin and they are a lot lighter to use as well. And the brush set, I'm going to come back to the masking tape, I haven't forgotten. The brush set is this. So let me move the water. So these are the different brushes you get, and this was, let me see if I can get it up on Amazon. This came from Amazon. I bought the postcards, this, and 2 paper pads, which were these Artisan. Now these are watercolors, but they've got like a little line so you can pull them out. But 2 of them, the postcards and the brushes, and all together it came up to about £20. So it wasn't that expensive, but everything here you see that I'm showing you right at the minute did come from Amazon. But the reason I like these brushes so much, as the thicker the brush you go, the thicker the actual brush is. So you can sort of see the difference there. This is a 10, so that's quite heavy and it's quite thick. So if you like using thick brushes, then you might go for more this side, because I have noticed this side has got from here to here is a little thicker. On this side, from here to here is a lot thinner. The other thing is they're on Velcro, which means you can do that one. You can, for example, slide them out, and you could have them on your desk like that if you wanted them. I quite like them in the case, but we're not all the same. You know, you might like them sort of split out. The whole thing doesn't come apart, just the top does. So, and they have got a little bit of a hanger as well, so you can hang them up. So that's that. The tape. Now, I said I would come back to it. The tape. The tape is an artist tape. The tape is actually frog tape. There it is. Frog tape, delicate surfacing, painter's masking tape. It's used for actually painting the walls. That's what the tape is. It's not artist tape, as in, I know you can buy special tape for doing watercolors or doing anything like this, but this isn't it. This is just normal frog tape that I've picked mine up from like a local hardware store, or you can find it on online. And this is, I'll tell you how wide it is. It's 1 inch wide. So it's frog tape, just 1 inch wide. So as long as it doesn't seep through. I mean, I've seen people have seen someone use washi tape, as long as the water doesn't seep through, and it does give you a nice border edge once you're finished. So those are my 3 main things I have. The other thing I have is obviously my watercolors. These are just little watercolors I've picked up loosely in the store. Now these ones are a lot different to the ones I showed you earlier. These ones are this one, which are Essential Watercolors Artist Colors. Again, came from Amazon, and the reason I like these is because you get the tubes, and when you are using watercolors, you don't tend to squeeze out all the color, because you only want a little drop of something. So that's the other one I bought. Now, the one you saw a picture of before I came online were these ones. These one is by Mozart, and they have 40 colors, including metallic. They're highly pigment and they're artist quality. So it's a little bit different. I tend to go for, when I'm using my watercolors, I tend to go for things that aren't quite so high, but we all have preferences. Does that make sense? So these are, I've taken the olive out because we'll be using the olive soon. These are little painters, little cartons. They all have numbers on the back. And then on the top, I painted each colour. But on the top, you get a colour chart. And the idea is you take the colour, you put it on top so you can see what colour you're using. The bottom ones are metallic. And then we have got in this set the neon colours. So you've got neon pink, neon orange, neon red, yellow, green and blue. And of course you've got your white, your deep black, and then your pigment colours. But you don't have to go out and buy in really expensive watercolours. You don't have to do that at all. Like I say, I bought these colours, the 2 pads, the brushes and the postcards, all from Amazon, and it was about £20. I have got Prime, so I don't pay for postage, but like I say, just different things really. Right, the other little thing I wanted to show you is this. Now this is really cool. So I'm just going to rip one paper off because we'll start fresh, because I have been crafting before I came on. Now this is a tear off palette. So you know you get your standard, let me see if I can get one out of the cupboard. You know you get sometimes when you're looking for paint, you get a standard palette, plastic ones, or you can get the wooden ones, which I have got, but I tend not to use it. But anyway, the standard ones are the plastic ones. This came from the range, and I do believe you can find it online as well as. And this is really good because it's the palette on the front, and you get to tear it off once you're finished. Now, what I thought is, once all the paint is dry, I ripped that one in and put it in the bin. But once all the paint is dry, I had an idea about you using it in journals, and you could cut it into a tag and then write a little message and say, just add water and experiment. And then they can add water, because that's all they would need to add is water, and they've got a little bit of a tag in a journal or even a card. And you get 50 sheets in this little book. And it's really, really cool. So we're going to play with that tonight. So that's all my tools around me. Right, the thing I wanted to show you are my stamps. So I have this one at the moment on here is that one. No, that one, sorry. Just done it upside down. So that one is this one. This stamp is that one, so I used 2 different stamps. And I've also got some butterflies, just a variation of stamps. I do have a bird, and I have smaller birds and some butterflies and stuff, so just a variation of different stamps. So I'm going to show you first how I did that one, and then I'm gonna see what one you would like me to pick next. So, and I've also got my lovely stamps that Miss Dee Dee gave me that I was planning on experimenting before I come on live, and who knows, maybe we can do that too. Hi Carol, sweetheart. Okay, sweetheart, no worries, thank you for coming in. Right, so now the ink. I was looking around my room and I was thinking, I don't want an ink that's going to really react with the water, because if I'm using watercolors, I want something that doesn't do that. I just want the outline of it so I can play about with the water and play about with what colors I want to put on and whatever else I want to put on. But I don't want something that's going to react with the water. So this one is Premium Pigment Ink Pad. And this is in a natural color and it's done by Dovecraft. You can do any color you want. But I will say that I tend, when I'm normally stamping, I want a really good press down of the image. With this, I don't, because I just want a faded outline of it. So I'm going to take most of the ink off. That should be enough. And I am going to move this aside. We need this. And then I'm just going to lightly press it because I don't want a deep outline of the image, because I can sort of mix in my colors and create that outline myself. So lightly dab it down. It would be better if I put it down, Colette. Okay. So let's get crafting. Let's go there. Right, so you can see I've done an outline, but it's not really deep because I want to play about with our colours and I want to create that ourselves. So colours wise, now I have, do you want me to do it in the same colours as this one, or would you like me to do it in tones of pink? If you would like me to do it in the same, click S on your keyboard. If you'd like me to do it in tones of pink, click T. So the same as this, or tones of pink, click T. And I'll keep an eye on the chat as it's appearing. Mrs. G said tones of pink. Julia said tones of pink. I think we could go in with tones of pink. I think so. I'll get the tones of pink out. And if anybody, if we have, yeah, little Sue said tones of pink, so we'll go tones of pink. So I'll go through the colours I have. Give me that last red. Right, so this one is called Rose Madder Genuine. Rose Madder Genuine, and it's by Winsor Newton Professional Watercolor. So it's Rose Madder, I think that's what it pronounces as. So I've got that one. This one is Permanent Rose, and this one is Rose Madder Hue. So there's a different, can you see the different in the lightness? It's like pink. So I'm going to start off first. I am going to use this for our leaves, but I'm going to start off first by putting a little dab of our lightest pink on our palette, and then I'm going to get our brushes going. So I want that one for our watercolors at the minute. I'm going to use the angle brush to start building my color up. Let me move that this way. I'm going to spray some water on my palette, and at the same time I'm going to get the other brush nice and wet. Okay, so all I'm doing at the minute is I'm going into the water. I haven't dabbed this into my cup. I'm just using the water that's on my palette, and I want it nice and light. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going over the leaves. It doesn't matter. You know, as a kid, we always got taught, I don't know whether everybody's the same, but I always got taught, paint in the lines, paint in the lines. With it, you don't have to paint in the lines. In fact, it gives you more of effect if you don't. and I'm just going over the outline of it. And I'm going to try and bring you a bit closer. Should have opened my camera up really. Right. I'm not concentrating on the leaves, just the flower. And I'm just going round the detail of those leaves. So I have my handy tool here, which will dry it. Now I want a little bit of a dry, but I don't want it dry completely. And at the moment it's damp, it's not completely wet. No, yeah, we got hold of paint in the line. So that's what it looks like at the minute. You can't really see much detail. And if you can just see that I've just painted out the lines and it's really, really faded. But that brown just is, the brown ink isn't like in your face. I'm going to wet my brush again, the long, thin one. And I'm just going to make sure that my piece is dry. Now what I want to do is I want to paint my leaves all over again. This time I want to paint them with water. And like I say, it does not matter if you go outside the lines. Right, I'm going to go a little bit deeper now with my colour. So let me share with you this. So you can sort of see the lightness. That's the colour we started off with. And because I'm taking my time, I might have dried out. So I'm going to use the very point at the angle of the brush. And all I'm going to do is just lightly dab the colour in the centre, because that's where it would be most dark. So dab it in the centre. So I have that at the moment. So you can just about see the lines, but they are not completely gone as of yet. So if you want to move your piece round to create the water moving, you can do. I'm going to completely dry that again. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep my long brush as wet as I can. A little tip here, while this is sort of drying, when I'm putting my brush in the cup, if I was to put my brush in and leave it, what will happen is your brush will dry like that, basically, and you'll never ever be able to get it back straight. So if you can help it, don't go right at the bottom of whatever you're using that you've put your water in, because it will wreck your brushes when they dry like that. So I'm only dabbing it at the top of the surface. Little tip here. Right. I'm going to go in a bit deeper now. While that's air drying, I've got olive green. It's from the first watercolor set. I might stick the light on in a second so you guys can see a little bit better. Chris, can you put the light on, the main light for me, please? Chris? Chris?
Yeah.
Can you put the light on, please? Can you put the light on, please? So I am just going down those lines, and I'm not completely covering my leaf, because if I did that, then I would take away the colour. I'm just going in. On my stamp, I've got some veins, and that's where I'm taking the olive green, because that's the colour I'm using. I'm going to let that dry. While that's drying, I'm going to go back to my leaves. So I'm going to take this and I just want you dab it, the colour will do this work for you. See how the colour will do the work. So if you just dab the angle brush, the far end of the pointed brush in the centre and bring it out that slightly. You don't want to overdo it too much. The colour will do the work for you. Now this isn't wet, so the colour's not going to spread. So in the centre, and I'm going to just do a little bit here and a little bit there. So I've now got some nice shades of my pink. And if you find that you've got too much water, keep dabbing your brush and then dab it onto like a piece of kitchen cloth and you'll get the colour back. So I'm going to try that again. Now this time it's completely dry and I have got those brown lines. So this time I am actually going to go in a little bit deeper on the ends. And I'm going to use the long brush instead of the angle brush. And I'm going to use a different colour because I've just used the lightest colour. So I'm going to use the Rose Matter Hue, H-U-E. To pronounce it. Okay. Going again on the leaves. Now on my stamp, one of the leaves is flicked over, so I'm just working that colour in. Move my piece around. It has got some veins going up. And then put a little bit too much water, but that's okay. Go in on the edge. And this is where you can play about if you wanted to. And decide where you're going to put the paint. Now, on the other one, you couldn't see that much of the brown. And I'm going to do the same to this one. Right, and I'm going to do the same to you. Using my water and then the other shade. If you put the water on first, then your colour will spread a lot quicker. And you won't have to worry about where it's going. Now I'm just moving my piece around. Can you see? What I'm going to do is going to read the comments in a second to see what you're all saying as well. And I'm just going to do some of the leaves and then I'm going to dry it completely like that. And while I'm drying that, Hello, I'm back. Have been away in Wales for 3 weeks. Hi, Claire. Hi, everyone. Hiya, John. Hiya, sweethearts. Oh, bless. You have to paint in the lines if you're a bit obsessive like me. Did you enjoy Wales, John, sweetheart? Right, that would be the shading done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the white, and you think, why is she taking the white? I'm going to take the white and I'm going to do the lines in the white. The reason I'm doing this, it will break the different leaves and sections up. So I want my brush wet, but I don't want it completely wet. And I'm going to just dab it in. And then I'm going to take my piece and I'm just literally going to just break my leaf up, and I'm just going all the way around. I'm just bringing out little bits. Because these two flowers are joined, I want to show everybody that they are not joined. They are actually two flowers. So I'm just taking my white just to throw a little bit of light and to show that they are two different completely flowers. If you've got separate leaves, that's all more fun. And you can also, if you wanted to, follow your lines on your stamp. It's a bit like if any of you ladies got makeup, you know how you're supposed to use the white on your makeup to show features of your face. I didn't know that until this morning. A program went on. It's a bit like that, basically. So this flower has got like, is this stamens on this flower. I can never say it right. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to just line them up, and then I'm going to colour them in a second. So that's the flower done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on the leaf. So I've got a bit of olive green here. That's the colour I'm using. I'm going to completely take the colour off my angle brush. And again, I am mixing it and trying to share with you. So I'm mixing it completely. And then once I've got enough on the brush, I'm going to go over. Bearing in mind, I've already painted this in once. And because it's dry, it's now going to give it a two-tone effect. And I have got a bit of dark green, if you wanted to put a bit of shade in it. If the focus doesn't sort itself out, I'm going to sort itself out for it in a second. So I'm going to take a little bit of dark green and I'm just going to throw it in where the colour would be. Okay, so there's our first stamp. So you can, when that completely dries now, I will go over and make it look a bit like that. I didn't use the paints to do that, but I will show you how I've done that. So now you get to pick what other stamp you'd like me to do. So I have on the same piece, bearing in mind you can cut these up. You can cut that one into 3 if you wanted to. This one can be cut into 2, whatever you decide to do them. So let me take another stamp. So you don't have to be a painter. know how to use pencils in order to use watercolors. So these are the stamps I have. So I have that rose, which is that one. Let me try see if I can do something a bit different. This one I haven't done. This one is a bird and it's got flowers and leaves underneath. If you'd like me to do that one, let me sort the anti-focus out because it's driving me nuts. Right, that one's a bird and some flowers underneath. We have, going with the theme of flowers, we have a butterfly. I think, didn't I get any more? No, I didn't. So your choices: a bird with some flowers on, the rose, we can do 3 sets of the little bird. So we've got 3 different stamps. We have the bird with the flowers on, so that's A, choice A. The rose, which will be choice B, or C, and we'll do 3 of the same little bird on the other side. Like I say, I'm going to show you different things. So A, B, or C. Hope you can see the pictures. I have tried to knock anti-focus off as well. So what one would you like me to choose next? And yes, do a bird. Mrs. G said do A. There's 2 birds. There's one bird with the flowers underneath. Jan says do a bird. There's a rose, or there's a tiny little bird. A, B, or C. Mrs. G said A. I think Dee Dee and Jan is saying A, but I can't quite sure. I think so. Let me read. With flowers, Dee Dee says with flowers. Sarah says A. Okay, so let's do. I think everybody's gracefully said A, B, C. Right. I'm going to spray my. Get it to go stamp, because that's another thing I learned this week. Right, so there's our image. Where did I put the ink? So I'm not completely putting a lot of ink on there because I want to do most of it myself. And we'll have the bird sit in there. So there is our bird. So it's really, really, really faded. But you can just make out the bird. Let me turn the anti-focus off because it's driving me nuts. Bear with me, guys. Right, I'm hopefully turned the anti-focus off now, so it shouldn't be going in and out. So I'm going to move this over because I want you to see everything I'm doing. I'm going to do the bird. So I think I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to do the bird in blues with a little bit of purple. A bit different. So I have, this is called cobalt blue. C-O-B-A-L-T blue. This one's violet, and then this one is, I can't even pronounce that, cerulean blue, C-E-R-U-L-E-A-N blue. So I've got a light blue, a dark blue, and sort of a lilac colour. I'm going to turn this completely around, and we've also got our olive green because I kind of like using the olive green for the leaves. So this one is there. That's our light blue. Our dark blue, which I'm going to put there. And like I say, with this, once all the paint is dry, you can reuse in your journals. And violet, which I am going to throw down here because I really want to go and do the violet. So I'm going to switch the brushes now. I'm going to use this brush, which is 2-0. I'm going to completely wet it. And I'm going to use this one for my rainwater brush, the long thin one. So I'm just going to completely wet the bird. I'm going to concentrate on the bird, and then I'll come back to the flowers once it's drying. So I'll light blue first. Okay. So I have at the bottom, I've taken the feathers out. And I'm going to leave a little bit of his chest, a little bit bare. Okay. Dry that. And I'm going to go in with the blue again. And this time we're going to concentrate on his wing. So let me show you. Don't know why the light is not very good tonight, but it's just not. So that's what it's looking like at the minute. I'm going to dry that off. And the paint, because I've wet it so much, it will start to move. So I want a little bit darker this time, my colour. So that's what it's looking like. So I've just dubbed the colour in and now I'm fading it out. See how the colour's moving? I'm going to let it run itself. I'm just going to put the tip. Now if you notice you've got too much of one colour, you can dab it away because it's watercolour at the end of the day. It's not going to... So I'm going to concentrate now on the side of his feather, and should we do the underneath as well? Taking my blue and just spotting it in really gently. Go. And then I'm going to take the purple and blend the colours in. If you notice, I'm drying in between, just to give it that bit of shadeness. So take your water in one brush. I'm going to use the purple and I'll come back to the really dark colour. Tell you what I could do is when I send these out, because like I said right at the very beginning, I'm doing a little bit of a giveaway in tonight's live, is I'll send the palette out so you just have to add water to it. And I'm taking now, some people, the other tip is I'm using kitchen roll. You can actually use a cotton bud to bring up your water if you wanted to. Now I'm going to just take this taking some of the paint off, and I'm just going to blend. I want it dark slightly down here. So we've got, see how I'm just, I think I put a little bit too much water. Just ever so slightly blending them in. And again, once this is dry, I'm going to completely leave him as is, and then I'll come back to him right at the very end. Question for those North Americans. Oh, hi, this is. Oh, I've just seen your YouTube channel. We know Lorna. I have to think then how to pronounce it. Hello, sweetheart. How are we this evening? So I'm going to do the flowers underneath and use our pink. When I do send these out, whoever wins tonight, I'll send you out the palette, so you just have to add the water. Because I think that'll be nice. Oh, what have I just done? I think that'll be a nice touch. So I'm going to wet our flowers now. And then I'm going to show you, once I've done this, another way to watercolor, even if you don't know how to. So use the lightest one first. And I'm just dabbing in the center. Taking my dryer, drying it off completely. Again, you can move the paint and the water around. So this time I'm going to go in a little bit darker with my paint. Forgot to add the water. There. Right, so we have that at the minute. Now, can you see when I haven't added the water here? So because I haven't, so really I'm just layering the paint now. And again, I haven't gone in exactly the lines. So I'm going to use the olive green to finish this up on our leaves. And then I'm going to show you another way, great way, that you can add your watercolors to your projects. But you can make this, and can you imagine this in journals, or even like, I don't know, whatever you wanted to do. Can you imagine it? You're making your own paper, you can make tags, you can do all sorts, and you're not limited to what you can do either. And again, I'm going to use some dark green to give it a touch of. And I'm just touching the dark green up that we put on our palette earlier. And that would be, there's one little touch I want to do. I'm going to do our little trick. This is my little trick. For those that say that they can't draw, for me, if I'm using my stamp, I don't want the outline to show that I've used a stamp. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm using a B pencil. You can also use a H. A 2B might be a bit thick, but a H or a B will do this. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to doodle, and all I am doing, let me find a piece of paper. All I am doing is I'm just doing this all the way. Let me do darker. Just doing that. Just like really scribbly lines. I'm not going completely straight with them, but it gives you the outline for whatever you're making. And if you wanted to copy the veins, you could. Totally up to you what you do. And you could make, can you imagine, in a journal, making your own type of paper? The world is your oyster. That's all I can say. And once I've done this, because we're just going to add one final touch. With the branches, I tend to go a little bit straight because I don't want them to be all over the place. But with a flower, flower's never straight. Right, there's one little thing I want to show you, because I did say we would make 2 today. And you can make, even though this was a flower with 5 petals, I can actually make it with singly on a single flower if I wanted to. Just by doing those scribbly lines. But with the bird, I'm just going to follow my shading and not necessarily the ink. So that would be my second picture. So I'm going to show you one thing now I want to add to this, and then we're going to move on. So I'm going to take my thinnest brush, I'm going to wet it completely, and because we've used pinks and blues, let's do lavender. I'm going to use a little bit of lavender, build my colour up, and I'm just going to tap it so I get a bit of shading going on. And then the other one I want to do is white, which I think I had to do a little bit of white here. And I'm going to do a little bit of pink, but not too much, because we've done the pink flowers, haven't we? So I don't want to do too much flickering. There. And that would be our picture that we've actually created with stamps. Can you imagine that being in a journal? Somebody would think you've actually sat and drawn and done that. That's created with stamps. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to dry that off. I'm going to tape that off with the tape while I'm doing it. Hi, Kateri, sweetheart. Been busy making journals and then recovering from making journals. Oh, bless you. I'm going to take the tape off. Like I say, it won't touch your paper. Well, this one did. But then it tends not to touch the paper because I pulled it a bit too hard. Right. So I'm going to push that to one side, and then we're going to do another one where, where's my postcards? Where I'm going to show you a different thing. So where I'm going to do lavender. Now anybody can do lavender, because lavender is so easy to do. And you think, oh wait, no, wait, she's going to be technical here. I promise I'm not. I promise I'm not. So, oh, if I could sort out that anti-focus, I would. Okay. Right, so again, spray your work surface. And like I say, you can do this on a mat. It's just I'm using, I know the anti-focus is on, guys. I am trying to see to it, but it's just, tonight it's just giving me issues. Right, I'm using a plate from a Big Shot machine. So spray it, so you just want to make it damp. I'm going to pop that down. I'm going to get another one of these. And all I'm going to do is wipe the excess water around it for my tape to stick to it. That's all I'm going to do. I'll be right back, Julie says. Oh, okay, sweetheart. Right. Pop that down like so. Actually, that's not going to be. Wait a minute, let me do another one. So this is standard frog tape. That's one side. That's another. I'm going to spin it back around again. One there. And then one on that side. And as I showed you on the first one, we need to push our corners down, because if we got the corners on, if we got the corners up, then the paint's going to go under your tape, which is what we need to do. What have I done with it? Oh, what have I done? Oh, there it is. Okay. So all I want to do is push down on the line between the paper and the tape, and then take the flat end and push that tape down. Turn it. And if you've been watching me the whole time, I did say I would do a little bit of a giveaway tonight, which I am going to. I'm going to give away the two that this one and the one you've just seen me do, plus the two that I've shown you tonight. And I'm going to actually create another couple as well for you to have. And send it to you nice in a package, to wherever the winner is. So I'll explain in more detail in a second. So now I've pushed all the corners down. Take my palette back. I have olive green on there, but I also have pinks. Now I need lavender and I need blue. So I'm going to spin it round, because those are the colours we were using. And I'm going to switch up my brushes if I can. I'm going to switch the brush up to a 5. This is a 5 brush, only because the line's a little bit thicker and I need them a little bit thicker for what I'm about to do. That line will do when I'm doing it, but that one will come in handy. So this one is a 5 and this one is a 2. So they're both angle brushes and they're perfect for making lavender. So the first thing we're going to do is coat the entire thing in water. So I'm going to take my round brush, because it's quicker and easier, and this is a 7, but you can do it with any brush you want. And I'm just going to wet that entirely, take most of the water out, and I'm giving it a good coat. Don't want to completely soak it, so I do want to wet it. So turn it that way, we'll have it that way for a change. And I'm going to take my thin brush and I'm going to just do my outline first. So dabbed it in some water. Now I'm going to take the lilac. So the lilac colour was violet, and we're also going to use a mauve, I think is that how you pronounce it, MAU, VE, mauve. I'm going to dab a little bit on that because we'll need, you can use just purple and blue, but I tend to use 2 purples as it gives a little bit of effect. Right, take your lightest purple, whatever that is, and I'm going to make sure my paint is well covered in it. So lavender tends to have little lines going up it, so I want to make those little lines. So the more to the tip, so the top of the lavender will be little lines. The more you come down with it, it'll gradually get thicker as the lines come out. It's just how a lavender plant works. So I'm just going to do little lines close together, and it doesn't matter if they are, and it's sort of like a V shape. It's the only way to describe it. There's one, and I've done it fairly thick for you guys to see. So I'm just making little lines. So I'm going to do that again. Little lines like a V shape. And I'm going to do another one. And let's do one here. This time I'm working down, gradually going up. So you'll have little at the top, and as you come down, it will become gradually thicker. I'm just going to do a little stem there. So tiny little lines, little stem there, and little stem here. And I think I'll go a stem here and a little one here. So that's what I've basically got. So little lines. For those that don't like going outside the lines, if you're embossing powders and a heat gun, you can stamp the image like you would for embossing and then paint it like you'd like to show this. Oh, that's a cool way, Julia. That is a cool way. Yes, that is a cool way to do it. I'm not using a stamp to do this, but I see what you mean about embossing it, bringing it up with the embossing powder, and then you can do your little lines. This is, let me try and show you what I'm doing on the pad. So pretend this is lavender. I'm going down one side, quite hard to do with my hand, down another, and I'm gradually making them small the closer I'm getting to the tip. So I'm literally doing little V's. This is what makes lavender. That shape is what makes a lavender. Can you see how I'm gradually going up? And then when you get to the V, it's tiny little lines. And when you do your little tips, tiny little tips, for little tips, little V's. But I like Julia's idea about using the embossing powders to get your line, and then you can paint them. I like that idea. See, inspiration. Right, I've done that colour. So what I'm now going to do is dry this off, what I've done. And I can always put more on after. It's no big deal. And this time I'm definitely going to use the lavender, the lighter of the purple. But this time I want to take more of that colour in. So I'm not going to do the tip. I'm just going to concentrate on the bottom. And I'm going to do some on the outside. So I'm not tending to go on the inside either, because lavender, and when I come closer to the tip, I'm only doing a slight little bit. Lavender, you can actually see, if you look at it closely, you can see the stem in the center of it. So I tend not like to go close. So this is quite a deep color. And I'm using a 3/0. I can't remember in artist terms what they call the brushes. Okay. And for these little lavender, the little tiny tips, I'm only going to do about 4 lines with the dark, but I'm going to go really, really tiny, almost like you wouldn't really see them as they're just starting to grow. Move it this way. And move it that way. So 4 tiny little dots. You can as well, if you wanted to, make little flicks, like backwards ticks on the outside. So as if it's the background of the colour, if that makes any sort of sense on what I'm saying. Background of the lavender. As long as they are fairly close to the centre, then you should be okay. I'm going to move that. Doesn't matter if it's really thick. Like that one, I've got a little bit thicker, but it does not matter at all. Okay. So I'm going to get the excess off my brush so we can start with a new colour. I'm going to dry that, but this time, when I dry it, I'm not going to use the lavender. I'm not going to use purple to create the lavender colour. I'm actually going to use blue. So the blue I am using, so you want a fairly light blue, is cobalt blue, C-O-B-A-L-T. It's cobalt blue. And that's the colour I'm going to be using. So dip it in your water. And I'm going to take the lightest of my shade. So this would be over here. And then make sure I get plenty on my brush. And this time I'm going to start again. So I'm going to work, when I did the first colour, I worked from the bottom all the way up to the top. I'm going to do the same with the blue. And the reason I'm doing that is because when you see lavender, you see purple. But when you're painting it, if you paint it with the blue, you tend to get a different shade of purple. I know it sounds strange, but wait. So the purple almost lights up when you go in with the blue. I don't know why it does. And that was a little bit of too much. There we go. There we go. So I'm just following my lines all the way up to the tip. And here. Next I dipped it in the purple by accident. I'm going to go a little bit on there, then I go. Sometimes when you do too much colour, you can just, if you hold the kitchen roll or whatever you're using just above it, the water will actually, the kitchen roll sucks up the water, so you don't have to worry about it too much. This is what I mean by doing the blue, you almost get a different shade of purple, and then it becomes more of a lavender rather than a colour. Right, I'm going to take all this now away. Right, I'm going going to wet my brush completely now. And instead of using the blue, I'm now going to use the green and work on our stem. So I'm going to use the olive green, only because I like using it. The lavender tends to have darker leaves. So I'm going to use an olive green and a sap green. So I'm making sure my brush is fairly wet. And like I say, when I send this out, you will have some watercolors to work with, and all you've got to do is just add water. So I'm going to do a little bit faded first, just to get the feel for it. The tape almost come up then. So all I've done is made lines. So I'm going to go in a little bit deeper now with my green. I don't want to go in too deep because I'll create too dark. But I hope you can see what I mean about the blue giving you a different shade of lavender, that you don't necessarily have to use the purple. Right, I'm going to use a bit of a sap green because the leaves on lavender are quite dark. And so make sure all the colours out of that. I'm using sap green now, and I'm soaking my brush up fairly up with enough water. And this time I want to go under the lavender itself, because that's where you would find the green. And then what I did forget to do, so I'm going to take another brush and I'm just going to go a line in the center. And I'm just following the lavender now that I've created. So I'm just going between those V shapes to create a lavender shape. I'm using the darker of the green to now create leaves. The olive green was an outline. The darker green will give me an outline, give me the colour underneath the leaf, if that makes any sort of sense. You'll see what I mean. So hope you can see that you can actually create lavender just by using different colours. So I've used the light purple. I didn't use the dark purple. I used the light purple, which I can't find, which was the light purple, which was violet. I used the light blue, which is cobalt blue, the olive green, and the sap green. Those are the only colours I've used to create our painting. And I'm just making little leaves. Right, and that would be completed now for me. I'm going to flick some paint on, and then I'm going to tell you what you need to do for our little giveaway. So I'm going to use, let's have a think about this. I don't want to go too dark. I'll use a little bit of a white. Like I say, when I send this, whoever wins this tonight, when I send the paintings out, because I am going to do some more for you, I'll send this out, and it'll probably be between 2 sheets. And if you peel it back, put some water on it, then you've got the colours then to go from. So I'm going to use white, and I'm going to use a little bit of the dark. Why not? Okay. And I'm going to use a little bit of white, and I've given myself quite a light colour to work from now. I think that would say that it's done. So that is my lavender done. I'm going to dry it off, and then I'm going to get a pen and pick backs, no doubt. I hope you're all interested in a little bit of a giveaway. I haven't done one in ages, not especially on a live. Okay. Peel my take back. Gently does it go out. There's one. There's two. There's two. There's, I was taking some off. There's 3 and 4. So these are the paintings that we've done tonight. I'm going to pop that up there. We've done that one and the one with stamps, and I'll be gifting these 2 out, plus I'll be doing some more, so you'll have a collection. So let me get a pen and paper. I'm trying to think now. Where's my notebook? Oh, I got one. And if you are interested in tonight's giveaway, could you press, let's have a think. Let's give some love around, everyone. Press 2 kisses for me and 1 for you. So if you are interested in tonight's live, let's press 2 kisses. I've got a pen and paper, and I don't know whether anybody will be. Looking lovely. We're looking really lovely. Clap. Thank you, Sarah, sweetheart. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Julia. We could be related. Oh, bless you, Jean. Yeah, we could be. Got family down there. Oh, wow. I'll be right back. Fishguard. My word, we could be, you know. Did I not say just if is nobody interested? Nobody's interested, it doesn't matter. I'll keep them for myself. If you are interested in tonight's giveaway, press 2 kisses. Everybody's name will go in hat, and I'll reveal the winner. And you'll have some handmade paintings from me. Plus, I'll put a few of the little goodie things in. They are beautiful. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Mrs. Ryan. Thank you, Jan. Ah, the lovely Mrs. Ryan would like to be entered into my giveaway. Thank you, Mrs. Ryan. Oh, Julia. Thank you, Mrs. Julia. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Lorna. Just reading your comments. Thank you, sweetheart. Right. That's a chick. Mrs. G. And as for challenges that I know of on YouTube, I know what challenges do I know of? Oh, and Sarah. Thank you, Mrs. Sarah. I know of my own. I have a challenge on at the moment It's a show me your craft space and 3 ways you keep your craft items. You don't have to be on YouTube to join in. You could just take a picture and send it to me in Messenger. Others have done that, and it runs till I think it runs till the 20th of October. No, 20th of November. I've given it a few weeks. So you don't have to do a video on your room. It's nice if you do, and I have seen some beautiful rooms everybody's been joining in, so that's really nice and sweet of you all to be joining in. And the other thing is, I thought it's nothing that you have to send in. It's something that I've actually been inspired by watching everybody's rooms, which is really nice. I know Pauline did a video today. This lovely sweet Pauline, she did a video today, and her craft room, and it popped up as I was about to go live. So Miss Sarah, Miss Jan, Julia, and the lovely Mrs. Ryan. Right, let's get to my hat. So I hope I've inspired you all to join in and to take your stamps. You don't have to be, there's lovely Mrs. G. You don't have to, know what you're doing with the paints in order to make like a beautiful painting like this. Julia, you're going in, sweetheart. And Miss Sarah, thank you, Sarah, sweetheart. And the lovely Mrs. Jan, thank you, Jan. Right, they've all been folded the same. My hat's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The brim of it broke just before the summer. Right, good luck, everybody, and thank you all for coming in. Honestly, it's been really nice. So let me reveal a winner. I have a winner in my hand, and it's the lovely Mrs. Julia. Congratulations, Mrs. Julia. The paintings are coming to you, and I will be doing some more. And just to go through who was left in the hat, Mrs. G, Mrs. Sarah, and the lovely Mrs. Jan. I'll do some more, send them in the post with some other bits and pieces. So give me, I don't know, about 1.5 weeks, something like that, and they'll be in the post on this way to you. I think you've got my email address. If you haven't, let me know. And I'm sure you have, because I'm sure we've spoken on email before. But if you haven't, I'll put it in chat now. Hello, Mrs. Deanna, sweetheart. Congratulations, sweetheart. I hope that everyone has got a bit of inspiration on using your watercolors and a little bit of a way on how to create shapes without creating shapes, if that makes any sort of sense. I hope that I've given you some inspiration. Like I say, I have a challenge going on at the moment, and can I just say this before you all go? I hit my 900 subscriber mark. It was either today or yesterday, and I just want to say thank you so very much to everybody that supports my channel. It means so very much to me. Words can't express how much you support me, and I love reading the comments, and I love watching your own videos. And I know for those on YouTube, like putting a video isn't easy. So I just want to say thank you so very much for subscribing to my channel. And my challenge, I'm going to be doing something a little special just for hitting 900. I didn't think it would ever happen. And I've hit it, and it's just amazing. So thank you, everybody, for joining in my lives, commenting on my videos, and actually watching my videos, and that means a world. So thank you so very much. And like I said, I'm going to be doing some little special now I've hit the 900 mark for my challenge. I'm going to throw something a little special in there. I have to, because I didn't ever think I would do it. So thank you so very much. Hi, Shally, sweetheart. Well done, Colette. Nearly at 1,000. I know it was my aim to be at 1,000 for Christmas. I didn't really say anything because I want people to subscribe to me for the right reasons and not because I'm asking for them to, if that makes any sort of sense. So I didn't really say that was my aim before Christmas, but 900 is absolutely amazing. I cannot believe it. Thank you, thank you, thank you once again. It means the world to me, and yeah, just means the world. So thank you very much, and I will catch up with you all in my next video. Have a lovely rest of the week, and once again, thank you so much. And Julia, sweetheart, I'm gonna be posting these in the posts, plus the little palette so you can add your own water to it, and then you've got the color and some other little bits and pieces. And I will see you all next Friday. So have a lovely rest of the week. Please watch out for my craft room tours. I still haven't finished on that. And hopefully you'll see more of my room and more of how I keep my things separate and little nifty ideas. So once again, thank you very much. And I will catch up with you all next week. Take care, ladies. Have a lovely rest of the week, wherever you are in the world. And I'll catch up with you again on next Friday at 9 p.m. Bye for now.